So this gentleman down here, he'll be able to tell you what happened and where she is and what you'll need to do.
I was just before the hole.
Yeah.
She probably fell off that place where you have to do that right move around with your hand upright, if you know it.
And do we have any information since you left her?
No, because once we went down the hole...
What's the rope we need? Is there an abseil rope also
There is
set up?
an access line in at the moment, 10 mil, this stuff, rock solid.
Okay.
So one of you can go down.
We can bomb straight down.
You can bomb straight down.
I'm going down to get an assessment.
I'll come with
back up.
you.
All right, so Alex and I, and if there's a third person who's useful, we'll do that. We need to go down, it's all the pitches, and down towards the bottom of the Dragon's Teeth.
Okay, let me go down so I can listen.
The patient will never be able to get themselves out of here. It's a full-on rescue.
Okay, ambulance and cave rescue.
Go past that into that.
Emergency, what's the town or suburb?
Bungonia.
Tell me exactly what's happened.
I've had an adult fall, we think about 5 metres. We've got a cave rescue member with her at the moment, and he's advised that we need ambulance and cave rescue.
Do we need an abseil down into the cave?
Yes.
So I was the first person to enter the cave after the rescue got called, and I came down on their rope and abseiled down these 3 pitches in this entrance of blowfly. And when I got here, I was able to talk to the victim and her companions, and she was not well. She was in a great deal of pain and realised that there's no way they were self-rescuing.
We've got some police inquiries on the way as well as an ambulance as well, okay?
Okay.
We get notified through our VKG, which is our Radio Operations Centre. The rescue coordinator there would notify us through our computer-aided dispatch system. Gives us a job with the details, the informant details, the location, and a brief rundown of what the job is. So with that information, then we start to plan what our response is going to be to something like that. Once we arrive at the situation, the first thing we're going to do is find the people that know what's going on. So in this situation was the people that called in the 000 call, the people that understand what's happening. They can give us a briefing in relation to the patient, the injuries that are involved, the location.
You go through the awkward entrance, you go down the short pitch, you go down 2 more pitches. The police understood that this is a difficult place to do a rescue because they had a map of the cave.
It's on the abseiling side, not on the ladder climb.
That's correct. And she's at the bottom of the last pitch.
We have cave rescue maps, we have cave rescue training that we do. Depending on the situation, we'll come up with some type of a plan in relation to how we're going to respond to that. And depending on the circumstances of the job, we will use those parts of the plan that suit the job that's happening. Paths to access to the patient, what sort of problems that we're going to be associated with the issue, with the circumstances around what we've got. And then it opens up.
That's all in squeeze, yeah.
So when you get sideways, it opens up again.
Once you get to a slightly wider pitch, you can get down, and then it opens up after a couple of metres. In the initial fall, she got a severe scalp injury, and she bled a lot, but she also had severe neck pain. Had everybody very cautious.
Yeah, well, you might as well keep going on down the bottom until we get down the bottom. Get our guys down there. They might want you to hang around, just see. It's hard for me to decide exactly what we're going to do down there without saying it. When I get Scotty down there, he'll be able to have a better look at it, and you can make a decision of how you want.
You, me and Malik?
Yes. Scotty.
So will I get our second soddy to bring the hull line? Righto. Where is that? The paramedics, we will often have general duties ambulance crews that will respond in the first instance because they're the closest to the scene. When we speak with them, they'll be able to give us information in relation to what they understand about the injuries, plans in relation to how we can treat those injuries. They'll advise whether they've got staff that can access to the patient or not. Sometimes we're going to have to wait for specialised ambulance resources such as the Special Operations team. We might have to wait a bit longer for them to get there, and then they may be the staff that are going to actually access the patient. with any sort of incident, the police officer in charge is in charge of it. So on that night we had an inspector there that was in charge of the overall incident. We then have myself as the senior rescue operative is in charge of the rescue. The ambulance service are in charge of the injuries, and so we take advice off them. So their advice will help to dictate what our rescue plan is going to be. If they say that we need to do certain things because of the injuries that are involved and the treatments that need to be conducted, then that's going to affect our rescue plan as to how we conduct that rescue.
Yep. So I'm taking, the only thing I'm taking to the first corner through the squeeze is my bag of water.
Yep.
And once I get to that point, I'm going to stop. You'll still be able to see my head torch, and I'll receive
That
1, 2, 3, sliding this one down the rope first, and I'll protect myself, and that one will just get lowered down by the line. You happy?
The police rescue got to the front, and in about 20 minutes after he arrived at the victim, a couple of paramedics arrived as well, and they were competent at getting down through the cave, so they were able to reach the victim.
On rope, Scotty!
Well, okay.
They assessed her, they realised that she wasn't going to be able to ascend pitches, and it was going to be a haul. So at that point, we had to set ourselves up to manage a stretcher coming up these pitches.
Right, you there? It's coming down to you now, brother. You got it?
For any job that we do, communication is always the biggest issue, and normally at all debriefs, communication is always the issue, that there's been some sort of a communication problem. I actually find using the Mickey phone in a cave, we end up with the best communication that we do with any other jobs. The Mickey phone seems to be a rock solid way of getting communications up and down.
you're going to talk to me direct, are you? I'm going to be operating the power centre.
Power sender, we use that for all sorts of jobs now, any sort of vertical job. Obviously it reduces the need to have a physical component of people hauling on the line, but also it adds a level of safety there, because haul parties can tend to, once they're told to haul, if you've got a team of people and they start putting their force into a haul, then if you need to then stop very quickly, trying to make that group stop in time can be very difficult.
Hauling.
Yep, we're going.
With the power ascender, you can very precisely, very carefully adjust on the power ascender the speed that you want to move at, and once a message comes through to stop, it's very quick and easy to stop the haul. And in the event that you've gone too far with the haul and you need to back off, it's very quick in the opposite direction. You can turn the handle and you can lower the person back down again.
But we were managing the stretcher lift through a winch at the surface. So it was a rope that came all the way down through these pitches from the surface, put it on a slow winch. And then we had to manage the hauling system so that the patient wasn't getting scraped against a rock or anything like that. When she got near the head of the pitch, I was able to grab the stretcher and redirect it over the edge of the pitch so that she wasn't scraped against the corner.
Can we notify their family that they are going to be very late tonight and that they're doing special access in the bush?
Stop.
Ampos? Yep. So we'll need a Stokes litter, bed set up, and then we'll get Danny to reassess her.
We're quite close between pitches here. There's only a very cramped space where we're standing, and that meant that we were struggling to have enough people around to set up the next haul. But eventually the police rescue guy who was down the bottom came up. We got the second paramedic up on rope, and the second paramedic stayed on the rope and ascended beside the patient for the next pitch.
And so it's just this most difficult point in negotiation. We tried to stay with the KAD, but after I went through, I realized it was going to get stuck. It was going to be a wasted effort from that perspective. So she's going to have to help herself to get out. But she's been moving her limbs quite easily, and I think she'll see the light. She's focused. She's focused right now.
There's a bit more space up there, so it was a bit easier to do the second pitch than the third pitch. And up the top of the second pitch there's a reasonable ledge, and we were able to lay her down there. The paramedics reassessed her, gave her some drugs because she was in tremendous pain.
Laurie, have you done caving before?
Yeah.
All right, jump on down. All right, mate, obviously that opens the whole line, so if you connect yourself to this and you just essentially down climb.
Yep.
The final pitch to get out into the daylight is the tough one in this cave. The final pitch has a really ugly squeeze at the head of the pitch. And so they had to get her off the pitch, through a squeeze and out of the cave into daylight. So it was very difficult to do the final pitch. And for that we brought in about a dozen people.
So, happy from that perspective?
Yeah.
She did have an LSC.
Yeah.
But other than that, she's been alert and orientated throughout. And I think she's focused on getting out now. She'll probably, once she comes out, she'll have that adrenaline sort of relaxation dump.
Yeah.
But right now she's keen to get out.
Slowly in on the haul line. Haul slow, Sarge. That's good, you're doing really well. Yeah, you're facing the right way.
You're almost there.
What's the pull?
Slowly in on the haul. Haul it slowly, Sarge. Doing well.
Pulls that up
Doing
onto
well.
You alright, Naomi? You alright? Control your breathing.
You're doing well. You got plenty of room.
That squeeze is literally in the daylight. So when you get through that squeeze, you're out of the cave. And we just had to get, while she was on rope, on a stretcher, we had to get her through this really ugly squeeze at the head of the cave.
You're almost there now.
Control your breathing, catch your breath. Catch your breath. Orientate yourself.
Take a breath there. That's the hardest part. Yeah, the next bit's the easiest part. You can see the top now. Well done.
We good?
Hold there. Let me get out of the way.
Hold this.
Yeah, yep, go for it. Alright, go. Doing real well, you're nearly there.
Once
Well
you're out, the other guy's going to have to be hauled through as well.
Turn around and face up.
Yeah.
Climb right up. Well done, hit hand out here. Well done. Doing really well.
Watch your head.
Yep, there you go. Perfect. Well done. You're alright. Take it away.
You're offside, didn't you?
Yep.
That's
Well done.
I said I'm
There you
not
go.
setting up a whole system.
Good luck, Phil.
If you want any help.
Well done. It's just slow. Let's just get you off this and we'll reach up the ladder, eh?
There's a lot of satisfaction when you actually reach a point where that patient comes up out through the hole. You now know that you've rescued them from the difficulty that they were in, and now we can hand them over into a stretcher and get them into an ambulance and get them the proper medical treatment they're going to need. So yeah, it's a satisfying experience.
This is Danny, he's a doctor. He's going to do another assessment on you.
The paramedics who are trained to do this underground are tremendous. The paramedics managed to stabilise a patient who was severely injured. They managed to deliver drugs to her, and they managed to be on rope, and they managed to ascend beside the stretcher, which is extraordinary.
Get people on each side.
In the end, this was the paramedics and the police rescue and cave rescue squad. We all had to work together, and that really clicked. I think people worked together automatically. There's no questions about what was going on. There's no questions about who was in charge at any particular point.
I told you that last section would be cruisy, yeah?
The most important, I think, thing is to have people that know what you're doing, and people that know when to expect that you're out, so that you're for overdue. If something goes wrong, then there's a quick line of communication through to us or through 000 to throw up the flag and say there's a problem. The sooner that we can get that notification and we can start putting actions into place and we can start looking for people, then we can help them. When we go into a task and we set our minds to a specific task, there's a problem that we've got to resolve, we get in and then when we come up with a resolution and we sort the problem out, it can be a satisfying experience.